Hi, I'm Tanya Behrens with Tanya Behrens Group, and I'm here with Kathy King of Spillawinks Art Studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
Good, I am too.
Yeah.
Very nice day outside. Getting all nice and toasty.
Yeah, hopefully not melt.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this for me. I'm super excited to hear more about what you guys are doing here. Your studio is so cute.
Thank you.
Super bright and light.
Spillawinks Art Studio is a neighborhood-focused art studio, and my goal is to bring art, especially to adolescent through adult. That's where my focus is, and I especially strive to be a studio I call it a low-pressure studio, so I'm less about the fine arts and more about really the mental health aspect of it. So getting in and finding a place for community, I have a lot of women's groups that connect here, and then of course the adolescents, and it always breaks my heart every time I go into the schools and I find out that there's no art classes in the middle schools especially.
Yeah.
Honestly, a little bit of everything. So I have a little bit of ADHD, and so I have a lot of interest in pretty much every medium that's out there. I do alcohol inks, I do painting, drawing. I personally love sculpture, and I recently got a kiln, and so I've got a clay class, and so I do a lot of clay, and I love just the tactile sensations. I am both a slow artist and a messy artist. And so I think that can be intimidating to people to have in their own space.
Okay.
Which is why I feel so fortunate to have the studio space that I do, because I can spread out here and my students can spread out here, and it's okay if we're slow, and it's okay if we make messes. So yeah, a little bit of everything. A summer art camp on August 15th through the 19th, and that's for my adolescent group. Generally, those students, the lowest that I go down to is kids that are going into 4th grade.
Okay.
Generally, the art camps tend to attract more the 6th, 7th, 8th grade range. And then I've got some clay classes coming up. I've got one for adults and one that's specific for kids. And that's mostly just because, it's nice to hang out with people that are the same age as us. And then I'm starting to plan my fall classes.
Okay.
And fall classes will be an adult art class that has a 6-week span, and it's going to be a variety of different types of classes. And we'll see whatever else comes up.
Yeah. Well, I met you in Renton Mom's group.
Yeah.
So you do like mom night out things. Did I see that? Or
do.
did I just create that for you? Renton Moms.
I do.
Okay.
I am not a sip and paint studio.
Okay. Yep.
And those are fine. It's just not what I do here.
Okay.
But I have had a group of women friends that came in, and we played with alcohol inks, and it was marvelous.
Yeah.
And so definitely up for that sort of thing. So yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
I mean, art has always been a passion throughout my life. Although when I was in college and I mentioned wanting to be a graphic designer, I was talked out of it with the phrase, graphic designers are a dime a dozen. Do something where you can make some money. Right.
But punch that person.
Go back in time.
Yeah.
So then, I started voluntary teaching in the elementary schools, and I loved it, to the point that I think when my oldest was in 3rd grade, I started teaching for the 5th and 6th grade classrooms, and I had all of them, and I have been teaching I still do teach in the 5th and 6th grade classes, as well as a couple other classes as needed. And so that's, 6 to 7 classrooms per year that I go in and teach. And then, but beyond that, I actually started to pursue a master's degree in art therapy. And again, because that mental health is huge for me, I think that it's so important. And I loved the master's program. And if I was younger, and if I had more money, grad school is expensive. And so unfortunately the program, due to a variety of factors, didn't work. And it was also the time that it gave me to realize that as much as I love mental health, the program was focused on here's mental health and here's a little bit of art to throw in, and I wanted it to be here's art and here's how it helps mental health.
Right.
And so I had heart to heart with my husband, and he thankfully was very, very supportive. And when we started looking for houses, we looked for a house that had a space to do the studio, and it's been very great. I don't know why. I mean, I took psych classes and was just really intrigued by them. I mean, I, like everyone else, certainly have my moments of mental health is a challenge, and it's something that I hope that we as a society are starting to recognize the importance of addressing. I don't know, what was the rest of the question?
You had mentioned it a couple of times, so I'm assuming that maybe you've either seen good results from it, or there was a passion or a reason behind it.
Well, it's certainly been...
Who would need it, I guess. I mean, everybody.
It's certainly been helpful for me, and again, it kind of goes back to the not really focusing on making a beautiful piece of art, but using more of the process. And it's helped me work through some issues. I've got various sculptures and paintings that are me working through and thinking about just different layers of things. And I think that with art, there can be things that you can say that you can't find the words for. And at the same time, there can also be things that arise during the process that you don't necessarily think about, like, I'm going to just put this little bit of, mud here. And it's when you're reflecting on it, or sometimes when you're right in the moment, you're like, oh my gosh, this is kind of like example of this other thing that is supporting me in this mental health aspect. Like, this is symbolic for that. And I think that that's huge. One of the classes that I really, really long to do is an identity class with adolescents, because I think that for adolescents especially, there's so much change and so much trying to figure out who am I, and you try on so many different personalities, and you try to find where you are and what's my label, and it can be really, really challenging, especially, we live in a time where we get so many different messages. And I think art is, again, a great place to kind of experiment. And especially having a studio, I cap my classes at 8 people, and that is intentionally because I want it to be a safe space. And if it was a class that had 20, 30 people, it's a very different feeling and a very different sense of comfort. And so I would love to have more classes, and not just adolescents, but as a woman who my identity has changed, when I first became a mom, and there was a period of time that I lost who I was, and now as my kids are getting older, well, now my identity is changing as well. Right. And so lots of opportunity to use art to kind of figure some of that out.
Yeah, that's great.
Not really a difference. I mean, what appeals to the adolescents versus what appeals to the set of moms, that really just depends on the group. I would say that one of the biggest challenges is that the adults are definitely a lot more reluctant and take a lot of time to kind of get comfortable, because so often they had that experience in middle school or elementary school where they were told that they weren't good. And that has stayed with them. And I just want to go back and hug that child that was told that, and to remind them that art is so much not always about making a beautiful picture.
Yes.
And that is huge to me. Like that's one of the big focuses on here, is that it's more about the process and what you get out of it than it is necessarily making some gorgeous picture that you're gonna sell for millions of dollars. Yeah.
Well, I mentioned Renton mom, so you're in Renton. You're in Fairwood Greens. How long have you been here?
Just about 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made you choose this neighborhood?
To be honest, we never really specifically sought out either a golf course community or an HOA. But when we were looking for houses, and it was, during the time, we had been looking for houses for over 2 years. And when we came to this one, there's a park right down the road, and that was huge for my kids. And then just all of the neighbors were very, very welcoming. There's sidewalks, and there's a secured guy that drives around, and so it just felt like a good place. And we liked the schools that the boys were going to be going to.
Awesome. Very cool.
There are challenges with both. So I think that one of the challenges with having it in my home is that at least it is, it's, you come in the front door and you walk right into the studio, and so that's nice. But I do still have to have my children clean the bathrooms. They're teenage boys, and so so there's that challenge. The other challenge is that because it's an HOA, I can't actually have the name of the business outside. And so every once in a while I think about, well, if I had it out in the community in more of the commercial area, then maybe there would be increased visibility for it, because that's definitely a big challenge. Do it now. It is huge, and boy, the times when I have a client who says to me, hey, I recommended your studio to so and so, I cannot tell you how much that means to me, because you can't open up the Yellow Pages anymore, and me being here, not having a sign on the house or anything, knowing that there's somebody out there that is saying, hey, here's this fantastic resource, and I like it so well that I want other people to know about it, like that is huge for me, and it's what keeps me going. And I don't want everything to be from Amazon.
Well, we can't do an art studio
I know, right?
or art class. Well, we probably can't. We know the supplies, but we wouldn't know what we were doing.
Right.
Yes. Well, I am here to support you in any way that I can. I absolutely just love it. And I know our Renton Moms group, I am giving a shout out because I'm going to put it on the Facebook group. I know that they'll help support you as well.
I hope to be doing more of this. Just need people to keep coming in the door and going to the website. I teach over a whole bunch of different mediums, and so I'm always open if there's somebody who's like, hey, I want to do this thing. Do you do that? Talk to me.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Awesome.
So,
Right now, is there any immediate need? I know you have a camp coming up. Are you looking for, is it full? Do you need more?
I have at least 1 or 2 spots every day.
Okay.
In fact, I know that Friday, August 19th, I only have 1 camper.
Okay. We need August 19th.
Yeah, but the whole week leading up to it, there is still some space in the other days as well. And you can do 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, all week. You get a discount if you do 4 or 5 days. And then I also have play classes coming up, and 1 adult and all the details are on the studio.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
or
We'll
on
put
the
them at
website.
the end of the video as
Yeah,
well. So,
perfect.
and then I guess the best way to reach out, is it email? Is it social media?
Yeah, so I've got a Facebook. Just look for Spillawinks Art Studio on Facebook. Go to spillawinksartstudio.com on the web. I am pretty quick to respond to email.
Okay.
That's great.
Well, awesome. Well, I can't wait to connect with you again in a year, or maybe I'll take my classes myself and just see how much you guys have just exploded here. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.